cameras don't lie, and sometimes they capture moments so raw and unfiltered that they become unforgettable. That's exactly what happened recently when Song Joong-ki, once half of one of the most iconic Korean love stories, was caught on camera with tears in his eyes after seeing Lee Min-ho and Song Hye-kyo together. The scene was brief, but it was enough to send fans into an emotional whirlwind, sparking debates, sympathy, and even heartbreak across the world. It happened during a star-studded event that brought some of the industry's biggest names under one roof. The kind of glamorous evening where laughter fills the air, flashes from cameras light up the room, and celebrities walk gracefully as if they are floating. But amidst all that glitter, the most talked-about moment was not on the stage or the red carpet. It was in the corner of the venue, when Song Joong-ki's gaze fell on Song Hye-kyo and Lee Min-ho sitting together, smiling and sharing whispers. Cameras zoomed in just at the right moment, and the world saw it. Song Joong-ki's face tightening slightly, his eyes glistening with what looked like unshed tears, and the kind of expression that revealed more than words ever could. Fans instantly knew this wasn't just another candid shot. This was a glimpse into a man's unguarded heart. Lovely viewers, let's pause here and think together. Imagine being in his place, seeing someone you once loved so deeply, someone you shared so much history with, now smiling warmly with another person in a way that radiates happiness. How would you feel? Would you try to hide your emotions, put on a brave smile, or would your eyes betray you, just like Song Joong-ki's did? Share your honest thoughts in the comments, because this is where the story becomes personal for all of us. The clip of his emotional look spread like wildfire. Within minutes, fans across social media were analyzing every frame. Some slowed the video down, pointing out the exact second his eyes welled up. Others shared screenshots with captions like, "Our Joong-ki still hurts," and "Tears he couldn't hide." Hashtags like #Song Joong-ki tears and #Min-Kyo moment trended worldwide, proving once again that every move of these three stars is under the closest watch. But while many felt heartbreak for Song Joong-ki, others saw something deeper. They believed those weren't just tears of sadness, but of acceptance. Fans argued that the look on his face carried layers: nostalgia, pain, but also a quiet recognition that Song Hye-kyo had found happiness again. And in that realization, perhaps there was also peace. Lovely viewers, don't you think it's fascinating how one single look can spark so many interpretations? Some saw sadness, others saw healing, and some even believed it was a mix of both. That's the beauty and the tragedy of human emotion. It's never just one thing. It's complex, layered, and sometimes impossible to put into words. As the event went on, Song Joong-ki composed himself and carried on with grace, as he always does. But fans couldn't unsee the tears, and neither could the media. Reporters began writing articles about the moment, with headlines like "Song Joong-ki's emotional glance leaves fans heartbroken," and "Unspoken emotions captured on camera." Even international outlets picked it up, painting the image of a man caught between his past and the reality of the present. Meanwhile, Lee Min-ho and Song Hye-kyo, unaware of the storm brewing online, continued enjoying their evening. They laughed, they engaged with fans, and they shared small gestures that showed just how comfortable they were together. For them, it was just another public outing. But for the fans, it became a triangle of emotions: love, loss, and longing, all captured in a single night. Now let's interact again, my dear viewers. If you were Song Hye-kyo, how would you feel knowing that your happiness with someone new was causing visible pain to someone from your past? Would you feel guilt? Or would you remind yourself that everyone deserves a second chance at love, including yourself? It's a tough question, and your answers might be very different, but that's what makes this discussion so meaningful. As the video of Song Joong-ki's teary eyes continued to circulate, fans from around the world began sending messages of support to him. Comments flooded his social media pages. "Stay strong, Joong-ki. We love you always. And you deserve happiness too." It was as if fans wanted to reach through the screen and wipe away his tears. And in a way, that's what makes his story so universal. Because who among us hasn't looked at someone we once loved and felt that mix of emotions rise up unexpectedly? But here's something truly heartwarming. Some fans also chose to focus on the positive. Instead of just highlighting his pain, they admired his strength. They said it takes immense courage to hold your head high, to keep showing up in public, and to continue thriving in your career even when life doesn't go the way you imagined. That's why so many people respect Song Joong-ki, not just for his talent, but for his resilience. Lovely viewers, let's not forget that behind the cameras, behind the headlines, these are real people with real emotions. And in this moment, Song Joong-ki reminded us all that it's okay to feel, it's okay to let emotions show, and it's okay to be human, even when the world is watching. So as this story continues to unfold, fans are left with lingering questions. Will Song Joong-ki ever open up about what he felt that night? Will he share his own words the way Song Hye-kyo did with her love letter to Lee Min-ho? Or will he choose to stay silent, letting his actions speak louder than any statement? Whatever the case, one thing is certain. His tears on camera have etched a new chapter in this ongoing saga, a chapter that fans will never forget. Lovely viewers, as we close this emotional story, I want to leave you with a thought. Sometimes love doesn't end. It simply transforms. It becomes memories, it becomes lessons, and sometimes it even becomes tears. But tears, as painful as they are also proof that we once loved deeply. And isn't that, in its own way, something beautiful? Tell me, my dear friends, do you believe Song Joong-ki's tears were a sign of lingering love, or were they the final release of emotions he had been holding onto for too long? Fans couldn't stop talking, the media couldn't stop replaying that clip, and even people who weren't closely following the trio of Song Joong-ki, Song Hye-kyo, and Lee Min-ho found themselves drawn into the emotional whirlwind. The ripple effect of one man's quiet tears became louder than the speeches on stage, louder than the red carpet flashes, louder even than the main event itself. The very next morning, headlines dominated Korean and international media. Some read, Song Joong-ki's eyes tell a story words never could, while others framed it as the triangle of emotions. Min-ho, Hye-kyo, and Joong-ki. Talk shows dissected the moment, with hosts asking their guests if they thought Joong-ki was still in love, or if it was simply the human heart struggling with memories. Isn't it fascinating, lovely viewers, how one single look can create an endless conversation that spreads across nations? And while the public continued to analyze, insiders revealed that Lee Min-ho and Song Hye-kyo had also seen the clip. According to reports, they were both quiet after watching it. Song Hye-kyo especially felt a wave of emotions, because no matter how much time has passed, a part of her life story will always be tied to Song Joong-ki. She wasn't angry or guilty, but thoughtful, wondering if her public happiness with Lee Min-ho had reopened a wound. Lee Min-ho, being the supportive partner that he is, reportedly told her, "You don't need to feel guilty for finding joy again. Everyone deserves happiness, and so does he." That reassurance touched her, and in that moment, fans imagine, their bond grew even stronger. Lovely viewers, let's pause here for a heart-to-heart. Have you ever felt torn between moving forward with your own happiness while also worrying about someone from your past? It's not an easy position to be in, is it? You want to live fully, but you also carry empathy for those who once mattered. Share your experiences in the comments, because your stories make these conversations richer. Meanwhile, fans on both sides, those who support Joong-ki and those who root for Min-Kyo, began clashing online. Some accused Lee Min-ho and Song Hye-kyo of flaunting their relationship too openly. Others defended them, saying they had every right to live freely and that Joong-ki's tears were simply part of healing. A third group, more neutral, just wanted to send love to all three, reminding the world that everyone involved is human, with hearts that feel, break, and mend. As the debates raged, fan edits flooded social media. Some paired Joong-ki's teary-eyed clip with sad music, creating montages that highlighted his past with Hye-kyo. Others created parallel edits of Hye-kyo and Min-ho smiling together, ending with captions like, "New beginnings." And then there were those who spliced it all together, showing Joong-ki's tears alongside Min-kyo's happiness, leaving viewers divided, torn between rooting for the future and sympathizing with the past. Lovely viewers, this is where the emotional weight really sinks in. Because this isn't just celebrity gossip, it's a mirror of real life. We've all been Joong-ki at some point, watching someone we once loved move on. We've all been Hye-kyo, daring to find joy again despite the past. And maybe, some of us have been like Min-Ho too, stepping into someone's life and carrying the weight of their history with love and patience. That's why this moment resonates so deeply. It's not just about them, it's about us. And while the online storm kept building, Song Joong-ki himself remained quiet. No official statements, no interviews addressing the tears, just silence. But sometimes silence speaks louder than any words. Fans speculated that he was choosing dignity, refusing to fan the flames, and letting the world interpret his emotions however they wished. Yet many hoped he would eventually share his side, not to create drama, but to let people see the strength behind the man who once again reminded everyone of the vulnerability hidden behind a star's polished smile. At the same time, whispers began that Lee Min-ho was planning a subtle gesture of his own, not as a response to Joong-ki, but as a way to reassure Min-Kyo and their fans that their love was steady. Whether it would be a post, a public statement, or simply another quiet act of support remained unclear, but fans were already on edge waiting for the next move. Because with these three, every word and every gesture becomes history. Lovely viewers, let's reflect together. Do you believe Joong-ki's emotional look was a sign of unresolved love, or was it a natural human reaction when confronted with memories of the past? And if you were Min-ho or Min-Kyo, would you feel the need to comfort him in some way, or would you step back and let him heal in his own time? These are tough questions, but they open up conversations that remind us love isn't black and white. It's full of shades, complexities, and unspoken truths. Imagine it. After all the buzz, the endless debates, and the emotional weight carried by millions of fans, fate decides to put them in each other's path. Not on a red carpet, not in front of flashing cameras, but somewhere quiet, somewhere where they could finally share words instead of glances. Some insiders whispered that Min-Kyo herself felt the need for closure. She wasn't planning to rekindle romance, no, but rather to extend kindness. To let Joong-ki know that even though her life has moved on with Lee Min-ho, the part of her that once loved him will always hold gratitude. And if that's true, lovely viewers, imagine the conversation. Perhaps she'd look at him with soft eyes and say, "I saw you that night. I saw the pain in your eyes. I want you to know that I wish you happiness too." Can you feel the chills just thinking about those words? And Joong-ki, what would he reply? Would he stay strong, swallowing the lump in his throat, and simply say, "I'm glad you found your happiness"? Or would he let down the walls, let the vulnerability flow, and admit, "It's not easy to see, but I'll get there. I just needed that reminder"? Lovely viewers, which version of Joong-ki do you believe in your hearts? The stoic man who hides his pain, or the honest soul who lays it bare? Share your thoughts, because every perspective tells us more about how we see love. Meanwhile, Lee Min-ho's role in this imagined encounter is just as fascinating. Would he encourage Min-Kyo to speak to Joong-ki, knowing that closure brings healing? Or would he quietly observe, understanding that sometimes the strongest act of love is to give space? Fans argue both sides. Some say Min-ho's confidence and maturity would make him supportive, while others believe even the most secure heart can feel a flicker of unease when past loves resurface. Lovely viewers, if you were in Min-ho's shoes, what would you do? Stand by her side, or step aside so she can face Joong-ki on her own? And this, dear friends, is what makes the whole situation so emotionally gripping. Because while the cameras captured only tears, our imaginations fill in the rest. We picture conversations that might never happen, embraces that might never take place, and words that may forever remain unsaid. But isn't that the beauty of these stories? They give us room to reflect on our own lives, on the people we once loved, the moments that still linger in our hearts, and the way closure, or the lack of it, can shape us for years to come. Some fans, touched by Joong-ki's emotional look, even began writing open letters to him online, telling him he deserves joy too. Messages poured in. "Don't cry, Joong-ki, we are with you. And true love will come your way when you least expect it." Others even hoped he'd find someone new soon, someone who could bring light into his life the way Min-Kyo once did. Isn't it heartwarming, lovely viewers, how fans can become like family, lifting their star when he's low, reminding him of his worth? At the same time, supporters of Min-Ho and Kyo turned the moment into an even deeper celebration of their bond. They argued that if their love can withstand such scrutiny, such public drama, then it's proof that they are destined. And perhaps they're right. Because when the world is watching and emotions from the past threaten to shake the present, it takes true strength to hold hands tighter instead of letting go. Lovely viewers, here's a question for you. Do you believe that closure between Joong and Kyo would bring peace, or would it reopen wounds better left untouched? It's a delicate balance, isn't it? Some wounds heal when spoken about, others when left in silence. And maybe, just maybe, Joong's tears were his own way of finding closure, without words, without meetings. Just one silent release of emotion under the spotlight. So as this story continues to live in fans' hearts, one thing is clear. Those tears weren't just about sadness. They were about love, loss, memory, and the courage it takes to keep walking forward. Whether Joong and Kyo ever sit down to talk or whether their story remains unfinished, what matters is that millions of people around the world have been reminded of something deeply human. The way love can transform us, break us, and still leave us strong enough to love again.